Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear us, everybody? How we all feeling today? Testing one, two, three. Can you guys say something?
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Awesome. Hi. I see so many people in the chat. Wow. Hey, everybody. We're the Cells team, or some members of the Cells team. Actually, one of us is not, but you'll learn more about that very soon. Um, Welcome to our February 2024 stream. It's great to have you all here. Um, we're going to share a couple really special things with you today. We're going to show you some civilization behind the scenes. We're going to share with you what our new Explore event is that we've been working on. We're going to share some important info about some recent tuning changes. A new contest is being announced, so there's a lot that we're going to have to share with you today. We're going to spill all the cells beans, but before we do that, I think we should all say hello, and you should know who all of us are. John, why don't you tell everyone who you are and what you do for cells?
Sure. Hey, everyone. So my name is John. I've been part of the sales team for several years now. You might have seen me on previous streams talking about past expansions that we've done, like the dinosaur event or expansion, the Beyond. And now today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the civilization revamp that we've been working on for the next few months, and talk a little bit about the direction that we're taking that in the months.
Nice. Yeah, you're probably one of the most frequent guests we have on this stream. It's always great having you on. I really like your presentations that you give to everybody. Can everyone hear our audio okay? If you're having any issues, please let us know in the chat. Um, and Prosh, hello, first time guest. It's great to have you here. Why don't you say hi to everyone and tell us what you're all about?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Emily. I'm Prush. I am the director of Pariah Interactive, a small indie game studio in Brooklyn, New York. And yeah, we're working on a choose your own adventure 3D platformer called Thousand Deaths. If you're into Psychonauts, Celeste, or Neon White, check it out on Steam and consider giving it a wish list. We're also really excited to be working with the Computer Lunch team on the new Explore event. And yeah, we're going to talk about that today and, really excited to reveal things to the fans and give you all a sneak peek.
Awesome. We're really happy to have you on the stream with us. I can't wait to check out 1,000 Deaths. It looks like a lot of fun. And also, speaking of fun, the event is going to be a juicy one, so we hope you look forward to learning more about it. And I'm Emily. There are two Emilys on the team. We switch back and forth producing and hosting the live streams, but I'm Emily, social media manager and marketing artist. I make a lot of branding assets for the game, so if you see like the Steam covers for big updates, I made those. And also, if you see fun TikToks on our social media channels, I made those as well. So happy to have you all here. Let's jump into this. There's lots of big details to share. So, first things first, we're going to kick it off with John, and he's going to share some information about the civilization updates he's been working on, especially the Bronze Age. So, John, you've been spearheading these updates, and they've been really cool so far. What do you have to share with us today?
Yeah, so basically, I think the goal today is to talk a little bit about um, what our process looks like for expanding the civilization content. So pretty much we want to give you guys a bit of a behind the scenes view into how we do things like research, how we do things like tree design, as well as how we decide kind of what goes into our gardens. So I'll be starting kind of from the beginning with where we source our inspirations and then talking about the process all the way through tuning and releasing to you, to all play. So can you guys all see my screen and hear
Yep,
me okay?
you are good
Sweet.
to go.
All right. So basically what we're looking at here is a Miro board, which is basically a huge inspiration slash mood board that we use for gathering all the references that we use for the Civ expansion. So you can kind of see on the left, we have the Stone Age, and then moving to the right, we have the later ages like the Neolithic, the Bronze Age, and then in this section we have the future ages to come, which I've blocked off since we're not ready to reveal those quite yet. But if you kind of zoom in a bit, you can kind of see at the very top, we started by trying to zero in on some symbolism and some imagery that we can um, use to capture the feeling of each of the ages. And then that's reflected kind of in the content that you unlock for new generators. Scrolling down, we have some of the kit. So basically inspirations for dwellings and setting that we use for defining what certain areas of the garden feel like as you kind of progress through the ages. And then further down here, we have the specific unlocks that you encounter as you kind of progress through the tree. We wanted to kind of bring those to life in the garden. And I'll show you a little bit more about what that looks like in the game itself. And then further down still, we have some of the references that we kind of gathered for the new wonders and logic prizes that you can unlock in the game. So I think one of the really fun things about revisiting human history and looking at civilization is kind of the huge structures and artifacts that we've kind of left behind. So if you go all the way back to the Stone Ages, we have things like the Lascaux paintings and Stonehenge. And then more recently, we have things like the pyramids and the Sphinx. And then for the Bronze Age, our most recent release, we had the Ziggurat of Ur, as well as the Trojan Horse and the Hanging Gardens. So I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like in the garden. So switching over, this is pretty much what the game looks like on our end as we create it. And if I hit play, you can kind of see this is the garden that we've been working on for the last several months. So most of this should look familiar to you, hopefully, as players of the game. When you start here, we kind of start out in the Stone Age, and then we progress through as you rotate the camera around into the Neolithic, which focus more on the rise of cities and the rise of agriculture. And then finally, we arrive at the Bronze Age. So if you recall, when we sourced our inspirations in our Miro, you can kind of see we tried to pick out key story beats in human civilization and technology. So we picked out ideas like writing, sail, pottery, medicine, and the alphabet. And you can kind of see as you poke around in the garden, if you select this person over here, for example, you have someone making pottery. If you select someone here, you can kind of see they're administering medicine. And you can kind of see these are kind of directly referenced from some of the historical inspirations that we sourced as we did our research.
I love how all these visuals are translated. It feels like a little mini museum in the game.
Yeah, it was definitely something we've been looking forward to doing for a really long time. I think if you've been playing the game, for years now, you'll recall that the Civilization Garden wasn't always quite like this. So it was actually more kind of like what you see here, which is kind of a little bit more abstract. We had some very kind of earlier programmer style art in there, which kind of made it through and lasted in the game. But the idea is that as we continue to kind of progress through the ages, we'll be replacing the art and just making everything kind of feel consistent and coherent and really just get deeper into depicting the story of how civilization unfolded.
Nice.
So yeah, you can also kind of see we have kind of these paper makers over here, and then someone chiseling in some symbols into this rock, which is kind of directly referenced from some of these images here. So it's definitely been fun working with our modeler, Jenna, to kind of take some of these early points of reference and to kind of add characters into the game and to really kind of give the story of humans and civilization kind of the attention and the content that it deserves in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So apart from the normal unlocks, though, one of the new kind of additions that we've made to the game as we kind of get deeper into the civ content is these larger structures. So for example, we have the Ziggurat of Ur here, as well as the Trojan Horse. So it was definitely kind of fun gathering references to these really kind of striking and iconic visual symbols and incorporating them into the game as well. All right, so that's pretty much covers it for the garden enhancement that we did. Oh, sorry, one more thing. We also included a new view into the game, which we're calling the map mode or the city view. This basically lets you zoom all the way out and look at the civilization garden from a different sort of top-down angle as you unlock content in the game. So this is a feature that we kind of stumbled upon accidentally as we were editing the garden in our in the engine. And we kind of liked the way that this isometric top-down view looked. It kind of felt like the city builder games that we've all played and loved. So we wanted to kind of get this view and make it accessible for players. So we've been able to do that with the Bronze Age release that went out earlier this month. And hopefully we'll be able to do that for future gardens as we continue kind of progressing down the timeline of civilization.
Nice. I love map mode so much. It makes the garden look like 10 times as good, and it already looked great, so.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, and it's going to be a lot of fun kind of hiding in more Easter eggs and kind of things for players to kind of hunt and discover. We always kind of think about ways to make the garden content more engaging, and this definitely seems to be adding to that. So, yeah, we're definitely happy that we got it out. All right. Um, so that pretty much covers the garden content, but that's kind of only one half of everything that we're doing for our civilization content. The other half is obviously the tree, where most of the play actually happens. So as most of you know, as players, we've been kind of releasing civilization content age by age, starting with the Stone Age up through the Bronze Age. So if you look, we've added a lot of new nodes into the tree. So I do want to talk a little bit about kind of what that process looks like. So in the beginning, pretty much what we do is we come up with a long list of nodes or ideas that we haven't actually captured in the existing tree. And then we kind of list them here, and then we start tuning it. So what that actually looks like might be interesting, though. So this is probably something that you haven't seen before. We have a tree editing tool that we built kind of custom in the game. So if we give this a minute to think, you can actually see this is what the tree looks like from a very far distance. And if you zoom all the way in, it'll start to look a little bit more familiar. So you can kind of see at the very beginning of the game, we have planet Earth, DNA, and the whole tree of evolution. And then as you kind of scroll up, we have the dawn of civilization, and then the civ content. So this is where I've been spending a lot of my time these days, just moving things around, adding nodes, and figuring out, how we can kind of untangle the existing tree a bit, and add additional nodes to kind of flesh out the civilization content. So if you kind of look on the right here, as I select these different nodes, you can kind of see this is where we enter in all the numbers, which determines, how much things cost, what the upgrade powers are, what the requirements are, and so on. So if you ever wondered kind of what making games looks like behind the scenes, this is kind of it. It's not always, that interesting to look at visually, but this is kind of where the meat of the actual gameplay gets designed.
It's very cool. I think a lot of our players are still interested in seeing like the everything with the top down. I was curious also to ask you because I know you worked a lot on the recent Civ tuning. How was that for you when you were developing?
Yeah, so tuning is always tricky, especially in, kind of a long form idle game like this, because we need to simulate what a player experience might feel like over weeks and months. So it's really hard to kind of figure out how to tune the knobs so that the player actually gets a well-tuned experience. So we're kind of approaching that problem on multiple fronts. So one of the things that we do is we playtest a lot internally with our team. So what we're looking at here is a chart of everyone or a bunch of people on the team playing through the recent civilization changes. And what we do is we map out exactly how long it takes to reach certain milestones. So just zooming in a little bit more closely, um, Yeah, Emily, let me know if you can see this. It might be a little bit hard to read, but um, what this is pretty much on the bottom axis, we have the Stone Age, the Neolithic, the Bronze Age, and all the other milestones that lead into the singularity. And then we're measuring time for players as they kind of go through this progression. So as we kind of made early changes to the game in the Stone Age and in the Neolithic, we noticed that all these new upgrades that we were adding was making the later game happen much faster. So we realized we needed to kind of retune the later game to add a little bit more friction so that it returns kind of to balance. So we've been making those changes and testing it internally kind of on a fast forwarded simulation basis, if that makes sense. So basically, our internal team is able to kind of test the game at 60x speed or 600x speed, just to kind of quickly run through and see if the simulated time is kind of in line with our expectations. Um, so that's one way that we've been thinking about tuning, just by having our team internally playtest with a bunch of tuning tools that we've developed. But we're also working on modeling all of this separately outside of the game. So we have one of our data specialists kind of building a model of the game, uh, pretty much in spreadsheets and using some custom coded tools to kind of develop a model which lets us project how long this progression will take. And that kind of is a much more data driven and more accurate, I guess, approach to, or scientific approach to figuring out the tuning. So we're kind of attacking this on multiple fronts. It's definitely a tough problem to solve. Our beta players, I'm sure, have seen it firsthand, that a lot of the early versions of the game that we send out are not quite tuned. And then, as we kind of continue to do iterations, it definitely kind of gets closer to our target.
Yeah, it's definitely all part of the territory of being part of a small team. Everyone wears many hats, and everyone has to juggle different tasks depending on the week and what takes the highest priority. So, I get that there.
Yep. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to show you today. Basically, just a little bit of a behind the scenes peek at what went into the last few ages of the civilization revamp. So we're definitely continuing to do to add to these changes as we progress through the tree. So next up, as you might have guessed, is the Iron Age. So we are hoping to have that out soon. And then as we continue to build, we'll continue to expand the civilization content, through the Industrial Revolution, and then to the Singularity and beyond. So definitely stay tuned because there's a lot more changes coming.
Nice, yeah. No, I can't wait to see what the Iron Age brings us. But the Bronze Age update has probably been my favorite one so far. I really liked the Hanging Gardens a lot, and the Trojan Horse was really, really cool. And I know that was a pretty big fan favorite as well. So, everyone in the chat, let us know what your favorite Civ update has been so far. I'd be curious to see what all your answers are. Um, and thank you, John, for sharing information about civilization and everything that goes on behind it. It's a lot of work for sure.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. I always love talking about this with the players.
Awesome. Yeah. And now, moving on to other really cool content that we've been working on. Prash, it's your time to shine. Do you want to go ahead and do the honors of announcing to all of our non-beta players who don't already know what the Explore event topic is? You can go ahead and announce to everyone what it is.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. We're doing an Explore event on visual art, and the working title is The Power of Images. Um, so yeah, you can get a little sneak peek here. We have a really cool garden, and shout out to John for helping with that as well. And we built this tree where we've had a lot of philosophical debates among the sales team to get to. So I hope the players love it as much as we love making it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to giving everyone a sneak peek.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna roll on ahead with some of the graphics. But the tree has been a really cool thing to see unfold over time. Give us a little bit of context about what to expect in the beginning here. I see that there's a generator called Lines. What is that all about?
Right, yeah. So I'll tell you how we got to the concept a little bit. So it comes from this notion that we see images every day, online, on social media, or on a billboard on the side of the road. And images have the power to speak without any words and make us have these strong feelings just by looking at them. Um, but also, images as we know them today are just a small blip in the human timeline as a whole. So the we try to ask is, how do we get here? And how can we chart this in just 50 to 70 nodes? And that was really the challenge. So we start with that first line in the sand that someone must have drawn to demarcate a boundary between their properties, or the body decorations that people would mark on themselves as pattern. We start all the way from there and chart out the evolution of images till the present date. And I'm not going to give away anything about the ending,
All right, all
but
right.
yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm really excited to play it when it's finished. I've been sitting in on some of the play testing sessions, which it's been really cool to see it unfold. Um, do you want to talk a little bit more about the movements and stuff that people can expect to see in there?
Yeah, I could talk about that. Actually, before we move on to the next slide, I also wanted to touch on symbols there. Um,
Sure. But let me just scroll on back. Sorry about that. I'm a little eager.
yeah, no, same. But I would just love to fill in the context for the beginning. So it seems so obvious to us now. Like, if I tell you to draw a dinosaur, for example, you can kind of imagine it in your mind, and I'm sure you'll make a great dinosaur drawing. But humans weren't always like this. We couldn't even conceive to represent what we see in symbols uh, until a very long time. So it actually required an evolutionary change to our brains to be able to look at our surroundings and represent that in symbols. So if you told a human prior to this evolutionary point to draw a dinosaur, they couldn't even like conceive it. And that was quite a mind-blowing thing for us to notice. Like, so then we charted from there till from that point onwards, talking about what techniques were built up. And then we go into a branching storyline, which we can get into.
Very cool. All right. Now I'm going to move on. I just want to share this with all of our players because art is very near and dear to my heart.
Absolutely. Yeah. What you're seeing in the slide here is a sneak peek of the storylines we have. So right in the middle, we have art movements through the ages. On top, we have technological developments that happen in parallel to the art movements. And we also talk about how one influenced the other. Um, and on the bottom, we go into economics and politics surrounding art. And finally, at the end of the tree, we have this convergence where we're able to come into the contemporary age and think about what images mean today.
Super cool. Well, I won't share anything about the ending as well because like here you could see a sneak peek of what to expect once you start to hit more of the middle and how it branches out. But yeah, we're not going to spoil anything. You'll have to just play the event when it comes out, which we could share more information about later. But I know the garden space, or should I say the gallery, is also pretty special to this event. So if you want to share more information about that, Prosh, be my guest, please.
Yeah, so the garden for this event is a gallery, and we've charted the evolution of images in humanity in this sort of impossible exhibition where we have, from the times of that person drawing the first line in the sand till today, with the age of technology and everything in between. And we've also tried to uh, kind of diversify in terms of like where in the world these movements were happening, and yeah, considering uh, how images have evolved in different parts of the planet. And yeah, it's this really colorful and exciting space once you unlock all the different generators. So I'm really looking forward to sharing it with players, and looking forward to seeing what everyone thinks.
Nice. Yeah, and I know Pariah's been working really hard on the whole gallery space that you see here. It may not look like much now, but this image doesn't do it justice, is all I'm going to say. So expect something really cool when this event is released. And John also helped work on certain elements in the garden. So thanks to both of you. It's been really stand out. I really like this event. So I hope everyone
Yeah,
else really enjoys it too.
yeah. I've kind of been helping here and there, but mostly watching from the sidelines. But with the tree design, with the gallery, it's been really interesting watching it evolve into its current form, and I definitely think it's going to be a great event once it reaches you guys. So look forward to it for sure.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you, Prosh, and to Pariah Interactive. This has been a really cool collaboration, and one of our first collaborations on an event, so it's extra special. So everyone, please look forward to the visual art event. It's going to be really fun, and thank you to all of our beta testers who have been playing with it and giving us feedback. Please give us even more feedback. We want to hear all of your thoughts on it, because we're still working on some tuning and some development for it, so it's not too late to share your feedback. Awesome.
Yeah. I believe the beta is going live today.
Nice. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, so everyone keep an eye out, and if you're a member in our Discord, to see when the betas are going live. More information on that later if you're not a beta member and want to join. Just a heads up. But first, before I share more information about how to join our beta program, I have some other really cool information tied to this visual art event that we're doing. If you've been a fan of Cells for a while, chances are you know that we've done some contests in the past and that kind of teetered off, and we haven't done one in a while. So, how about I introduced that we're going to be doing our first content of the year, the first one in a while, our Cell to Singularity Visual Art Contest, brought to you by our Explore event for visual art. So, what is this contest about? Well, you get to make some art. So, if you're an artist in the chat, this one's for you. And if you're not, there's something for you here too. So, let's jump into what this event is, or what this contest is going to be all about. It's not launching today, so for everyone who is in the chat, you're all lucky ducks, because this is a sneak peek on what to expect, and you can get a little bit of a head start above everyone else who didn't show up to the stream. So going into this contest, what we want to see from people is you can choose one of 3 movements. And fun fact, these movements will appear in the visual art event. So you get to learn even more about these movements when you play the visual art event when it comes out. But I also highly encourage you to look them up and to check them out online, because they have some really cool information about them. The movements that we chose that we want to see are pop art, cubism, and Dadaism, which is a really wild one. But yeah, so from these 3, you can become inspired, and we want to see you create some artwork that represents cells in any way. You could do a portrait of the T-Rex with his crown on, or you could do a cubism, really weird portrait of flatworms hanging out in their ocean garden or flying through the sky. Really, the sky's the limit. So long as it's representative of cells in some way, and we can see some inspiration from one of these 3 movements, we want to see it from you. So a little bit of extra context for some guidelines to get you started in brainstorming this weekend. Only one contestant can submit something or only one, every contestant can only submit 1 entry. So if you want to do something for all 3 movements, sorry, we'll only accept 1 per contestant. Makes it a little easier for us to judge all of the entries. And for anyone who's not an artist, we have the AI artwork category for you. So I know AI artwork has been on the rise. It's pretty cool, and we like to see people playing around with those tools. So if you want to submit something for the AI category, please, you are required to mention that you used AI tools in your art. I'm pretty good at spotting the difference between real art and AI art anyway, so if you don't if you don't say it and I can tell it's AI art, chances are you're going to be disqualified. But with that aside, you'll win the Special Semblance AI Art award if you win this category. So we want people to apply for all different kinds of... Oh, I have a package. I apologize. I will have to step away for 1 minute. This is really embarrassing. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry.
It's no problem, Emily.
Thank
We
you.
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we've definitely done lots of contests in the past. I can tell you personally that everyone on the team loves to see our fan-generated content. We've done screenshot contests before. We have a really active fan art channel on our Discord. So we're definitely looking forward to this one because it is about art. It's really kind of a chance for players to submit content in a contest form as opposed to just kind of throwing it into a Discord where it eventually gets buried by other texts. So definitely, if you're kind of on the fence about it, consider just submitting something because I think this should be a really fun one for the players.
Yes, I don't know what you just communicated to them, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself here. But yeah, this contest is going to go live on the 26th, and we're going to have a special Reddit post for it detailing all of the contest guidelines that will go out on the 26th. So all the information for this contest will become available on Monday. So thank you very much, John, for filling in for me while I stepped away.
Sure, yeah, I was just saying players, the team always loves to see what they submit for our past contests, and I think this one should be an extra special one because it is focused on visual art.
You're so right. Yeah, I really love seeing all of the entries, and it's been fun. Sometimes we have everyone on the team join up and judge all of their favorite entries. So we'll see who's available to judge for this one. Sometimes some team members are extra busy with things like tuning and new updates coming out. So we can't snag everybody, but whoever is available to judge the entries, everyone really enjoys seeing what our contestants provide. So thank you everyone who applies for these. It's always a pleasure for me to do it. Okay. It's always packages or sirens.
Yeah, I mean, we are based in Brooklyn. Most of us, Pariah is team included, as well as Computer Lunch. So there's always all kinds of crazy things happening in the background. So
yeah. Oh, and Lori, our writer, also said, or cats. It's true. My cat's probably gonna hop up behind me at some point during this stream if he wakes up. So again, for anyone who is interested in submitting an entry for this contest is going to go live on Monday, February 26th at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. So as soon as it hits the clock, 12 a.m. Eastern, you can submit your entries, and the guidelines for that will be available on the Reddit page. And then it's going to end on March 18th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So we look forward to seeing what everyone has in store for us. I'm really excited. I really like the contests. It's been a while, so
yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
We're overdue for sure.
Yes, we definitely are. It's been busy. I know we talked about this in our December live stream, but we really ramped up our production process in terms of content, and I think that's been a bit of an adjustment for the whole team across the board. So I'm glad that now we're getting back into the swing of all right, let's do some contests again. It feels good for sure. All right, so talking about getting into the swing of things and when our devs are busy, we have some important information to share with everybody. So some of you players here, I'm sure, are very experienced players. We have received a lot of feedback from players about some recent badge boost tuning that was done. And this was done in one of our more recent updates. So I want to share with everyone some information that we have about that. So recently, there's been some significant tuning changes to the Explore event badge boosts. And we're also really, really grateful for all your feedback. So I'm going to give you a little bit of extra context for this. So for players who aren't sure about what has changed, I'll give you an example of how it's changed technically. So let me try and take it slow here because I'm not the most technically advanced person here. But I have an example for you. If a player has 30 badges in an event, that would give them about a 300% badge boost. But since the change has been made, we added a dimensioning boost per badge earned after the player reaches 200% in an event, so it caps. So in this case, a badge earning 10% previously now earns about 8% after the change. Then the power of the badge will reduce to less than 1% per badge. So this is a change that we received a lot of feedback, especially from our more veteran players. But to give you a little bit more context as to why we made this change, I can give you a couple different reasons. The first reason is that we wanted to make multiplayer more fair for all of our regular players, no matter how long you've been playing the game. So we wanted to make it more fair for new players and veteran players alike. Honestly, balancing the research race has been a bit challenging for our dev team over time, and we want to make it fun for everyone. So this change is trying to achieve that. This is also a solution towards anti-cheating, which we've also received a lot of separate feedback about. I'm sure at least 1 or 10 or 20 of you in the chat have participated in a research race group where the first place winner finished the event in like 15 minutes. They obviously cheated because it shouldn't be possible to beat an event that's designed to be played in like about 40 hours. And thanks to player feedback, we've been able to keep a close eye on managing cheaters in the game. And since we've implemented this change, there's actually been a pretty drastic drop in cheater reports, which is cool. But in addition to dimensioning badge boosts, we've also put more measures towards shadow banning cheaters in the research race. But also, we hear all of your feedback. We've been keeping a close eye on our socials and our forums, and we really appreciate hearing all of your concerns and your feedback about this change. So moving forward, our dev team is going to look to reducing the dimensioning power curve a little for higher level event gameplay. We're also looking into more ways to make the multiplayer gameplay more fun. So again, we really value your feedback. Like, I can't state that enough. We really value your input, and I hope you're looking forward to seeing what we've been working on, because there's also going to be a dev diary coming out in March, where we'll be sharing even more information about what we're planning to do for multiplayer. So while I can't share all the information right now, our team is still looking into everything. We're going to go even more in depth in March in our dev diary, so please stay tuned for that. And again, thank you everyone for your feedback. Again, I cannot state it enough. We really, really appreciate it, and our team isn't as powerful without you guys. We've been watching all of your feedback on socials. We listen to you, and we really, really appreciate it. And our team is continuing to evaluate all of it, and we're looking into those features internally. On another, yep.
Sorry, I just want to add, I mean, I know, as I kind of mentioned before, tuning has always been a huge challenge with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And tuning for new players alone is a huge challenge. But then figuring out a way to tune the game for someone who's just on day one, as well as someone who's been playing the game for 3 or 4 years is a huge challenge. And it's definitely something that we're still working on. But as Emily mentioned, we're definitely listening to all the feedback that we get from players. So, keep it coming. We're definitely talking a lot internally about kind of the best way to kind of address these feedback. So we're having a lot of design discussions, and we are figuring out kind of the best path forward to kind of keep both audiences, like the new players as well as veteran players, kind of happy. So hopefully we should have something that everyone's okay with in the near future.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Cells is over 5 years old at this point, so a lot of tuning throughout the process has changed and is always constantly changing. So with all of this stacked on top of it, we always have to revisit how we can make it fun for both older and newer players.
Yeah, and multiplayer is definitely also a new challenge. Can't hear myself. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you can imagine, multiplayer is always tricky. There's a lot of different moving parts to it. a lot of different technology that has to get involved, and a lot of design challenges. So it's something that the team is still relatively new to, but we're getting more experience with it, and we definitely have a lot of plans to improve it in the months to come for sure. So stay tuned.
Definitely. Yeah, we have a couple team members who are pretty much focused on it and are putting a lot of consideration and thought into how to make the multiplayer mechanics more fun in the game. So that's been fun to see so far. And I think we're going to share a few things about that in the Dev Diary on March. So again, please keep an eye out for that. And thank you everyone for your patience and feedback. Again, can't say it enough. All right. So, and on top of that, we also have some changes that were made in our Discord server. So if you're not a member of our Discord, first off, you can join through the game, or if any of our mods could drop a Discord link in the chat, that'd be cool too. But yeah, the more the merrier. But our Discord server is actually a really big hub for our beta community. And right now we're working towards improving some features for that. So for anyone who is interested in joining our beta, there is a new channel in there that called How to Join Beta. So you can look in there, but we're also going to be posting on our social channels sometime next week with more information about how to join our beta. We've received a lot of questions and feedback from players asking how they can join, and we hope that you'll be one of them. So thank you for that. And also the Discord rules have been altered recently. So if anyone is a current member of our Discord, please be sure to check those out and to see what changes have been made. All right, well, that was a lot of content to share. Thanks guys for sticking with me for so long, and everyone in the chat for, if anyone's been here since 1 o'clock, wow, you're all superstars. All right, and as a reward, I think everyone deserves some Darwinium. What do you say? Usually, whenever we announce a Darwinium code, I like to give some people in the chat a chance to guess what it is. This one's going to be for 20 cubes. Based on the themes that we've shown in our show so far, what do you think it is? Art's a good guess. Art is a good guess. Art is in the... Yeah. Cubism's a good guess.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a Mama Hawk fan in the chat.
Very interesting.
It's a computer lunch diehard right there.
Aw. Throwback. We got some good guesses here. But I'm not seeing it so far. Some people might consider cells to be one of these. So let me just say it's Masterpiece. And everyone here is a masterpiece in my opinion. So that's all caps, no spaces. When you go to the hamburger menu in the top right corner, you can scroll down to redeem code and redeem it there. And for anyone who is an iOS player, I know some things with Apple have been changing in terms of like before we weren't allowed to have the codes in our iOS builds, but while it's not in there currently because we still have to figure out a better system for that, if you really want the code, you can email us at lunch@computerlunch.com with your player ID, and we'll be able to give you the Darwinium through there. I know it's a little, it's not super great right now, but we're working on it. So yeah, enjoy your cubes. I'll put this up at the end of the show again for anyone who pops in at the last minute. But let's roll into a Q&A. For anyone who's here for the first time, we usually have a Q&A session at the end of the show. We're happy to answer whatever questions we can. It's not lowercase, it's all uppercase. If you do lowercase or just the M as uppercase and everything else lowercase, it's not going to work. Make sure it's all uppercase, and you'll get 20 cubes. Thanks, everyone. All right, so if anyone has any questions, now's the time to ask. I'm sure you all have a lot of questions after everything we just shared. It's been a big show. we jam-packed a lot of information into just like 45 minutes.
Yeah, like Emily mentioned, I'm sure you've noticed as players that we've been kind of cranking out content
Mm-hmm.
faster and faster. So one of the things that one of the goals, I guess, as a company or as a team is that we do want to keep the players engaged. So we are kind of constantly working on figuring out ways to release content fast enough for players to stay engaged. Since a lot of you, get through the content very quickly, we have a lot of very dedicated players that have been with it for a long time. So
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot for sure, and hopefully we can keep this pace up in the future.
For sure. Yeah. We've come a long way with all of our super fans. So shout out to you guys. Thanks for playing our game for so long. All right, we got some questions in the chat. I see someone asking if we'll be adding more black holes. Only time will tell. I wonder. I wonder.
And I see the release date for the visual art event. It's very soon. It's coming in March.
Yeah, we can't give a specific date just yet, but there will be a trailer that will be released about the week before the event is released. So if you're really curious about the release date for that, keep an eye out for the trailer, and then we'll let you know that it's coming out the following week.
So that there's some questions on space colonization. So that this is something that is near and dear to the team. I think we have a lot of sci-fi buffs in the team. So we are thinking about how to get some of those ideas expanded in the game. So that kind of connects a little bit with the civilization revamp that we're doing, as well as the beyond content that we're doing with the space aspect of the game. So we are thinking about how to make all those ends meet, but that conversation is still pretty early. So definitely stay tuned for more details on that as it comes.
Yeah, more space. And also, if anyone is getting a timed out message when they input the code, sometimes if you put it in a second time, that helps. Sometimes it times out for no particular reason, so I recommend trying a couple times.
Plants as well. So plants is something that has been a topic of conversation for a long time. I think it is kind of um, a huge part of evolution and biology that is missing from the game, or hasn't gotten its due attention, or we haven't really done it justice yet. So we are thinking about how to do it, but we don't want to start until we can actually do it right. And as you guys noticed, we already have a ton of stuff in the pipeline. So we do need to kind of clear the queue a little bit before we can really pick it up. But once we do, we definitely want to give it a lot of focus and attention so that we don't disappoint players when it comes out.
Yeah, plants have been a pretty hot topic for us for a while. It's always in the back of our brains.
Yeah, I mean, even the fact that we call the different biomes in the game gardens, there's a ton of ideas spinning in our heads about what we can do with plants. But again, I think it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of kind of design for us to kind of figure out how to make them feel like we're doing them proper justice.
Definitely. Oh, that's a good question. Is there a new node to buy with logits with the new Explore event? We haven't done that in a while. We used to do trophy nodes that would be unlocked in the that you would be able to get through logits in the augmentation store. That would be unlockable on the main tree. We did teeter off from that a bit. I think because it was breaking some tuning in the game a bit. If anyone remembers the great giant squid fiasco. I know, John, you have some you have some experience from that.
That's on it. Yeah, I mean, players do love the giant squid, and it still is one of the most powerful unlocks that you can get in the game. So, but yeah, I think the we're still kind of finishing up loose ends on the art event. So, I think that's still a bit up in the air. But yeah, you're right. I think for the future event artifacts, we're going to have to kind of think about the best way to get them into the game without kind of disrupting the tuning too much.
Mm-hmm.
insects as well. So insects are also a huge part of biology and evolution, obviously. I'm personally not a huge fan of insects. They kind of gross me out, but I know Emily, for example, um, is more of a fan than I am.
I
Um,
I am very excited for arthropods personally. Like
yeah,
I would really love to see more insect representation in the game. When the pollination event came out, that was really exciting because you got to learn more about bees and flowers. So it was kind of like a little bit of insects and a little bit of plants for all of our fans who are asking about both. Um,
right.
so yeah, uh, we have uh, we have one player asking, I believe, asking if Iron Age or Rank 24 or Rank 25 will be released first. Well, I don't think Rank 25 won't be released before the other two. um, uh, I, I'm not 100% sure. Our
Yeah,
focus right now is on releasing the art event.
yeah. The Iron Age is coming along. You might have caught some glimpses of it earlier in the session as I was kind of poking around. Um, so it's getting pretty close. We still have some loose ends to tie up with it. And we still need to get a lot of art and polish into there. Um, so I think it's too soon to confirm an exact release date just yet, but definitely it is coming up, and we are starting to prep for the release. So stay tuned.
Yeah, figuring out release dates internally is a little bit like horse racing, where I feel like they're often neck and neck, and it's like, oh, who's it gonna be first?
Yeah, there's a lot of coordination that needs to happen with Emily and the marketing team. So we try not to just put it out there. We try to make sure that we lay the groundwork. We make sure players are aware. So it does take time to go through the process. So
Yes. Oh, lots of questions are piling in now. Thanks, everyone. We'll go through everything we can, but unfortunately, we can't answer every single question. But again, we'll answer what we can with the time we have.
are we going to explore more around the singularity? Um, so I mean, as you guys, I'm guessing, are probably aware, AI has been a huge topic in the last year or so, and there's a lot going on in that space. So we are thinking about the topic and how to get it into the game. As I mentioned, we are revisiting all the civilization content as well, starting from the Stone Age all the way through the Singularity and possibly beyond. So, um, yeah, it's definitely on our minds. I think it's too soon to really comment on what exactly those plans look like, but we will be announcing more as kind of those ideas firm up.
Yeah, super cool. Uh, we also have someone asking if we're going to be continuing expanding human era in later updates, including the future era with Singularity, or was that the question you just answered? Um, it's
Someone asking about if we're going to explore more around the singularity.
that I
Sorry,
think
there's a lot coming in now.
Yeah, I think they're very similar questions, but I think this is asking more about like expanding past what we have in late game main simulation content. Um,
Yeah,
that would be cool, though. It's definitely not a high priority. We have a lot of uh, food cooking in the kitchen, I guess you could say.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty far out. Like we're kind of revisiting the Civ content chronologically, so it is a little too soon to kind of talk about what the later Civ content might look like. Um, but yeah, we are thinking about it for sure. I think all of the Civ content. Um, I personally, have a lot of interest in the subject, so I would love to kind of revisit all of it. But we're going to have to juggle lots of different priorities to see kind of what comes first.
We also have a suggestion that we add more mini games, like we did with the currency event. I think with the flipping of the coin, that was pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, in the money event in the garden, you can fill up the chambers and get the cubes.
that was super
I,
fun.
yeah, I made that thing. Uh, it, it's kind of a balancing act. I mean, those things take a lot of time to make, and there's lots of ways that they can break. And we are trying to speed up the rate at which we can get these explore events out. So it's kind of a trade-off. So yeah, we can spend lots of time doing custom content for each explore event, or we can kind of focus more on just the actual um, tree and the nodes and kind of speed it up and get more of them out to you. So we are kind of trying to strike a balance, I guess, between churning out content quickly to keep you all kind of engaged and to kind of not over scope or overcomplicate, I guess, some of these events.
Yeah, though I do feel like our team has been trying to produce the best kind of gardens in the events that we've been releasing lately. Even though we can be strapped for resources sometimes. I know in the music event, it was really cool that it was like you could create your own music there. So they still have been really impressive. We got a lot of feedback from players saying that they wanted to see the gardens still because we experimented in the deep sea event to not have a garden, and players seem to really miss them. So it is a balancing act, as John said. We often have to figure out what our highest priorities are for it and what we can do realistically with the size of our team. But that's why we also have collaborations like with Pariah Interactive and Prosh. So we hope you're looking forward to the art event. If anyone missed it, you should check it out on the stream on YouTube when I publish it later. But Prosh talks about the new event, and it's going to be really cool.
Yeah, I do want to say that it has been really cool working with Prosh's team and kind of getting new perspectives and people that have been not working with the team for such a long time into the mix, because it definitely kind of adds new flavors and new ideas into the game that I don't think we would have gotten otherwise. So it's definitely been cool seeing that happen.
Yeah, thanks for having me on this. It's been really fun to jam and collaborate, and I'm a fan of the game. I've been following its development since before it was released. So just to see it come this far and to be a part of it in this way has been really special. So thank you.
Nice, thank you, Prosh. And yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure for us to collaborate with you. It's been a true honor. I'm really excited to see the art event when it's out, and I'm also excited to play your game, Thousand Deaths, when it's out. So,
Thanks.
all right, I think we have time for one more question. So, who's it gonna be? Who is the lucky person in the chat? Let's see.
I realized we accidentally leaked the average. I think we're okay with showing some work in progress stuff. I mean, I was aware that there might have been some things which haven't been out yet, which we might have given you sneak peeks into, but
Nice.
I mean, like a lot of it is still subject to change, and I think the really big stuff we are still keeping under wraps. So yeah, hopefully players aren't disappointed if they catch a glimpse into what's coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like do take it with a grain of salt. Everything we show on the stream is a work in progress. So some things may change, some things may get cut. So who knows? It's anyone's game. I have one person asking if we're going to add anything to the jukebox. Probably not in the immediate future. It would be cool to keep it updated, but I do know audio files actually take up a lot of space, and our devs have been working on optimizing how big the game is so that it can work on older model phones. So that's always something that we keep in mind. All right, and I think that's it for the show. Thank you everyone for watching. I will put up the code for anyone who has missed it. Let me just take a moment here. Masterpiece for anyone who missed the code earlier today. Make sure it's all caps. You can redeem it through the redeem code option in the game. Thank you everyone for coming. It's always a pleasure to see you here. We really enjoy sharing with you what we've been working on, and we really enjoy hearing your feedback in the chat. So please, just keep talking to us on social and in all of our forums and on Discord. We really enjoy talking to you guys. and we hope you have fun playing some Celta Singularity. And thank you, John, for joining us. Thank you, Prosh, for joining us as well. I know you're both very busy, so it's been extra special having you both on the stream with us today.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in our live stream in April. We alternate